From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Okay, welcome to the Tuesday afternoon session, September 24th. Board to reconvene. First item is roll call.
Supervisor Gleason.
Here.
Supervisor Scribner.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Next item is a report on actions taken in closed session. County Council.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the board. This morning, your board met on items 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35. However, there is no reportable action.
Thank you. The next item is the consent agenda. All items listed with a CA or C above the item number considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. We can act on those all in one motion. If any of you would like to make a comment about any of those items or ask for separate consideration, now is the time to do that. It takes a board member to actually remove an item for separate consideration. The consent agenda starts on page 2, consists of items 3 and 4 on that page. On to page 3, items 5 through 6. Page 4, items 7 through 9. Page 5, items 10 through 14. Page 6, items 15 through 21. Page 7, items 23 through 27. Page 8, items 30 through 39. And page 9, items 40 through 47. Is there anyone here that would like to make a comment on any of those items or ask any for separate consideration on any of those items? Seeing none, I'll return it to the board for action on consent.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you. That takes us to page 7, item 28, under the County Administrative Office. This is a proposed resolution authorizing the execution and delivery of an indemnification agreement with Antelope Valley Water Storage District. Mr. Ralston. Oh, I neglected to offer public comment before we, no wonder you weren't there, Mr. Christensen. Let's go back to page 2. Item 1 is public presentations, which I forgot all about. Is there anyone here that would like to make a public presentation? Seeing none, I'll go to item 2, board member announcements and reports. Seeing none, now we'll go to page 7, item 28. Mr. Christensen, or Mr. Alsop.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Christensen will handle this item for our office. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Alan Christensen from the CIO's office. This item is to request that your board adopt a resolution authorizing county staff to apply to the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services, or Cal-OES, for a hazard mitigation grant in the amount of $107.8 million. The application, if approved, would earmark funds specifically for improvements to the Willow Springs Water Bank. Willow Springs Water Bank is located near Rosamond in Kern County and provides water to serve residential and commercial customers within the Rosamond Community Services District. Willow Springs also banks water on behalf of public and private entities. Willow Springs is now limited in its banking capacity because of planned improvements that have yet to be constructed. The goal of this grant is to build improvements to the bank to increase Willow Springs' capacity. The grant from Cal-OES originates from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA. The grant provides assistance to California because of the floods, fires, and mudslides that occurred in 2017 and 2018. A portion of grant funds for preventative efforts to mitigate effects on the drought is also provided in the grant. Willow Springs Water Bank has reported dropping of groundwater levels in the area around their bank. It's expected that groundwater levels will continue to fluctuate as drought continues and or drought cycles occur and water shortages plague California. A primary benefit of the Willow Springs Water Bank project is the ability to recharge depleted aquifers and to withdraw the banked water in critically dry years. Willow Springs Water Bank cannot directly apply for the grants through Cal OES because it is not a qualified public agency with a state-approved hazard mitigation plan. Kern County, however, does have an approved hazard mitigation plan and can apply and serve as the sub-grantee for the funds. The arrangement is that Kern County would apply for the grants on behalf of Willow Springs Water Bank. In return, Willow Springs would provide Kern County with space to store water in their bank. One strategy identified in the grant application proposes to move county water stored in Lake Isabella back and forth from Isabella and the water bank during wet and dry years as needed. This would be accomplished through water exchanges rather than physically moving water. In a future date, a formal agreement between Willow Springs and the county is anticipated and after a grant is funded. If funded, the grant administration work would be done by Willow Springs Water Bank. Our goal was to minimize the impact on staff and administratively and otherwise, although we would be monitoring what goes on with the grant. Kern County would also be protected from liability by way of an indemnity agreement, which your board is to consider today. Willow Springs Water Bank also commits to provide a local match of $36 million, which is required for the grant by Cal OES and FEMA. The groundwater banking improvements project funded by the grant would benefit both Kern County and Willow Springs. Willow Springs would have funds to construct needed water bank improvements. Kern County would obtain access to the water bank and have the ability to store water obtained during wet years. The goal would be to keep more water in Kern County. The project would also create broader societal benefits for the state of California, including enhanced water supply, emergency water supplies in case of natural disaster, flood control, and dam safety. On March 13th, 2018, your board approved a similar Cal OES grant application of $15 million for piping, well improvements, and on-site reservoir at Willow Springs. That grant is still processing through the environmental process, but the funds have been allocated for that purpose. But no improvements have been constructed yet. The grant application being considered today by your board is for an additional phase of Cal OES grant funding. Adding the first phase of grant funding of $15 million together with the second phase of $107.8 million would bring the proposed grant total to $122.8 million. Both of the grants together would pay for the following improvements: 26 new wells, 640 acres of percolation ponds, groundwater pumps, electric station, on-site reservoir, and 5 miles of piping. In order for the grant application to proceed, according to Cal OES requirements, the following items are to be considered by your board. Number one, an indemnification agreement between Kern County and Antelope Valley Water Storage LLC, indemnifying Kern County for any liability or costs related to the grant application of $107.8 million and authorize the chairman to sign. Number two, a letter of designation of the applicant's agency resolution for non-state agencies, designating Willow Springs as an agent to Cal OES, and authorize the county administrative officer to sign. A letter of maintenance for the grant from Kern County for the entire useful life of the project once completed. That is also authorizing the county administrative officer to sign. And number four, a letter of funding match commitment naming Antelope Valley Water Storage LLC as the entity responsible for providing the state grant match of $36 million and authorize the county administrative officer to sign. County Council has reviewed the indemnity agreement and approved it as to form. Therefore, it is recommended that your board adopt the resolution, authorize the chairman to sign the indemnity agreement, and the county administrative officer to sign all grant-related documents. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them. Mark Bueller from Willow Springs Water Bank, representing that agency, is here if you have any questions for him as well.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to the public. Is there anyone here that would like to make any comment on this item before we go back to the board? Seeing none, I'll return it to the board for questions or comments. Supervisor Gleason? Supervisor Scribner?
Sure. Oh,
Okay.
thank you, Supervisor. This is potentially a very exciting opportunity for us, for the community of Rosamond, Willow Springs, but also for the county to obtain some, I think, very valuable storage space for us. No risk for the county. We're indemnified on this. We're not on the hook for any matching funds or anything along those lines. And so this is all upside, and so hopefully the grant's successful. And thank you for your work on this, Mr. Christensen. I'll make a motion to approve.
Mr. Bueller, can I ask you a couple questions real quick? Not many, just a couple. Can you talk a little bit about priorities? There's a series of seniority, in terms of seniority. What entities get what water, and in what priority do they get that water when it's time to pull water out? Or if we wanted to get some water, what do we have to get in line and wait, or how does it all work?
You'll have first priority capacity. The amount would be 30,000 shares, which would be 30,000 acre feet a year of recharge or extraction capacity. But that will be guaranteed yours, and it would take priority over everybody else.
Do we get our 30,000 acre feet after AV gets theirs, or it just there's no priority in the water coming in or the water going out?
No, we've got enough capacity. We'll serve both. If for example, another customer has another 20 or 30,000 acre feet of capacity too, you both get it. We'll have enough wells to do both.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm done. That's all the questions I had. I'll second the motion.
Thank you. You have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you. Next item is number 29. It is an update on the formation of the Bakersfield-Kern Regional Homeless Collaborative and a proposed memorandum of understanding with the City of Bakersfield and County of Kern.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Ms. Ruiz from the CAO's office will handle this item.
Good afternoon, Chairman Couch and members of the board. So our current Kern County Homeless Collaborative is a group consisting of over 30 members, which range from service providers, nonprofits, and county departments. This group works to assist our homeless population to gain housing, services, and basic care. The County Administrative Office was proud to become a governing board member this January. The collaborative is currently funded by a federal grant distributed by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Given the complexity of the homeless issue, the approximately 5% administrative allocation is no longer sufficient. This allocation is currently distributed to United Way for management of the collaborative. Current members of the collaborative also provide management assistance. However, each has a full-time job at their respective organization. In response, the county and the city of Bakersfield partner together and recognize the need for additional support. We have both pledged $155,000 to fund 4 full-time dedicated staff and create a new nonprofit named the Bakersfield-Kern Regional Homeless Collaborative, or also known simply as the Regional Homeless Collaborative. The Regional Homeless Collaborative creates an executive board to provide coordination between the county, city of Bakersfield, and homeless service providers, and provides dedicated staff comprised of an executive director with 3 dedicated support staff. The proposed MOU establishes the official partnership between the city of Bakersfield and Kern County and ensures equal support for staff for a 5-year term. The MOU will go for final approval following this meeting with both the Kern County Homeless Collaborative Governing Board and the Bakersfield City Council tomorrow, Wednesday, September 25th. Therefore, it is recommended that your board receive and file this report and approve the Memorandum of Understanding between the City of Bakersfield and the County of Kern from September 25th, 2019 through September 26th, 2024, in an estimated amount not to exceed $946,291. That concludes my report, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. I'll open this up to the public and ask if there's anyone here that would like to speak to this particular item. Seeing none, I'll return it to the board for questions, comments, and action.
Motion to approve. Thank you for all your work, and it's good to see us turn this page and move forward.
Thanks.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Please cast your votes. Thank you.
The motion is approved, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Perez.
That takes us to the end of today's agenda. I need a motion to adjourn to Tuesday, October 8th, 2019 at 9 a.m.
So moved.
Without objection, we are adjourned. Thank you.